YouTube land, Anders there doing another action figure review, and today we're having a look at the Joytoy Warhammer 40,000 Ultramarines Terminator Brother Andros. Now, this is not the first time they've done Terminators. I believe the first Terminators they did is either the Blood Angel ones or the Black Legion ones. I'm not sure which came first, but they have done Terminators before this. Now, most of the Blood Angel ones, as far as I can remember off the top of my head, are more close combat orientated, which means they're a mix of lightning claws and storm shields, and I think there's a couple of with just the storm bolter and power fists combination. I don't think they had done this, which is the Cyclone missile launcher style Terminator. I think this might be the first time they've done the Cyclone missile launcher, and I do not know if they did Imperial Fist Terminators. I believe they've only done Ultramarines. For the loyalist factions, they've only done the Blood Angels, the Ultramarines, and I believe the Dark Angels or the Deathwing. They're the only ones I can remember off the top of my head. They haven't done, at least I can't remember off the top of my head if they did a Imperial Fist one, but today we're having a look at this guy. So we'll have a look at his box first. So he comes in this standard Joytoy 40k box. This is also the direction that McFarlane have started going with their boxes. I'm assuming it must be some sort of mandate for GW, for Games Workshop, because it's officially licensed Warhammer in the logo. So I'm assuming this must be the way they want their packaging done, so it's similar across the board for all the action figure lines, basically all their action figure lines, regardless of which company is making them. I think they want this as a kind of a standard way. The only main difference with the McFarlane version and this one is their box is a window style box, so you can see the figure within, whereas these are enclosed boxes but with action figure art or photography. So there's no file card with this version, at least the one I got. There wasn't a. Some of them come with a collector card, and I think that's more the Chinese releases of them come with the collector cards. For the American market and the European market, I believe they do not come with those. I think it was only something that they had for the Chinese market, and I'm not sure if that's, or the Asian market, I'm not sure if that's for all figures across the Asian market or it's just specific ones, earlier on ones, but some of them did come with collector cards, which were quite nice. Unfortunately, I don't have one to hand to show, but some of them did come with a small collector card, and I think it had a bio, or at least some description of the character that they're based on. But this just showcases the figure in different poses. And to be fair, it's a Terminator, Space Marine Terminator, so there's not too many dynamic poses you're going to be getting them into. And we have the contents of the box, which is a Storm Bolter, a extra hand, if you wanted the extra hand. To be honest, these guys, I don't think need the extra hand option, because you're not really going to be arming them with anything other than what they come with, but it is there. You get an extra hand. And with the standard new ones, you get the clear base, so you have that as well. So on to the figure at hand. We will have a look at him, and we'll do his size first. And now he stands taller than a standard Terminator because of this honking big giant backpack that is on his back, which is the Cyclone missile launcher. I do miss the old design for the Cyclone missile launchers, and I'll get into that in a little bit. But this guy, with the missile pod slightly raised, you're getting at least 7 inches. If you're to raise them completely up, I know I'm putting this off screen, but you raise them completely off and not in the way they should normally be, I think it still hits around the 7-inch mark, so you're not getting much of a difference. So there is that. Let's pop these down. Now, I am going to stress, You might see it here. There's a small dent on my one here. Now, that's not how he came. Unfortunately, when I was bringing this guy over to my review station, he decided to take a swan dive and face planted. Other than the scrape on this piece, nothing else seems to be broken on him or snapped or anything. So he is fairly sturdy. He did take a fall from at least waist height, and he survived because he has Terminator armor on, and he's actually fairly bulky and heavy and quite nicely done. So the standard Terminators don't have this big bulky piece on them, so I'm just going to bring in the Sergeant. Now the Sergeant obviously has the Crux Terminatus up on top of him, which he has one on his shoulder as well, but it is just an icon. But the standard Terminator body kind of cuts off around here, so you're looking at least 6 inches. There's at least a good inch in height on these missile pods. So detailing wise, we'll spin him around. He is exactly what you would expect from a Space Marine Terminator. He has all the markings. You have the Terminator, or not faction, but chapter symbol. Not chapter symbol, what are they called? They're basically the different parts of the chapter, so company symbols. So all Terminators, as far as I'm aware, all Terminators with the exception of characters in the Ultramarines army are veterans of the army, so that's why they have the white helmet instead of an all blue helmet like the standard Space Marine, because it's mostly only veterans are fitted with the Terminator armor. They get the honors of wearing Terminator armor. So this guy has a bunch of iconography. He has the Aquila, which is done in a nice white with a wash over it. He has the white helmet, as previously mentioned. In fact, the helmet is the same one that comes with the Sergeant figure. It's just repurposed for this guy. He has a targeter in his eye, and then he has like this big targeting system on the back for the missile pods. This is not removable. It is glued in place. You could force it off or break the glue that's holding it in place if you wanted it to not have him with it. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to review this guy first is he has my favorite of the standard loadout, which is this chain fist. So not only do you have the added bonus of having a power fist, you also have this built-in chainsaw like device on the bottom of his wrist as well, aka the chain fist. They're mostly used for ripping apart bulkheads and doors and stuff like that, and they're fairly good in combat as well, in hand to hand. His standard armament is the Storm Bolter. So actually, I think a piece of it might have gone flying off, because if I'll bring in my captain, bear with me a second, or not captain, the sergeant. Sergeant one actually has a piece over it, and this one seems to have fallen off. So it must have fallen when he went for a swan dive. So I'll have to find that and glue that back into place. But he does come with the standard bolter. In fact, do I have the other guy here? Yeah, the other guy has the same bolter. I only have 3 of these guys. There is a couple of them that was released, so I did not notice that at the time, when I picked the gun off. Basically, what happened when he fell is everything stayed in place except his Storm Bolter hand that went flying off with the hand attached. It just pops in at the peg here. If I can get it off again. It just pops in at a peg, and it must have gone flying while it landed on the ground. So I will have to go find that Storm Bolter cover, or the front plate for the Storm Bolter. But other than that, he has everything else he normally has. So articulation wise, his head is on a ball joint. His arms can rotate up and down. They can't really do a 360 because of this thing being in the way, but if you didn't have that, you probably would do it, but at a stretch. They can go out to the side. You have the double jointed elbows. You have a swivel at the bicep. You don't have a swivel at the power fist joint, but you do have on the standard arm, or the standard non pistol holding arm, or bolt Storm Bolter holding arm. He does have double joints on the waist, so he has a waist joint and he has the upper diaphragm joint, which gives him good range of movement. His legs can kick forward quite a bit. He does have the double joints on the knees, and he does have those kind of rocker ankles with the peg holes underneath as well. So you can get him into some good poses. Unfortunately, as I said, I'm going to have to go find out where that piece went flying off to. But he does stack up quite well. Now, I'm just going to move the boxes out of the way, because I will bring in one of his Chaos counterparts. So these guys were released little after when Leviathan, the starter set for 10th edition, was released, and the Terminators in that box got a slight redesign and slight upgrade. So they are actually taller than the original Terminators. I believe they might be taller than the Blood Angel ones that were originally released, because these are like the 2.0 bodies basically. So I believe they stand a little taller. You can see he's maybe just a smidge taller head height than this. Obviously this guy has the trophy racks and makes him tall enough. But the other Terminator I'm going to bring in, this is one of my favorite looking but least favorite in the sense of articulation, is the, I don't know if we can get everyone to stand without them all flying all over the place, is the Terminator Chaplain. Now, I believe there is a second Terminator Chaplain coming, based on the second miniature, or the second redesigned miniature. I don't think he's been released yet, or has gone up for pre-order, but there is a slightly better version than this guy coming. Don't get me wrong, he looks fantastic. My main gripe with him is the shoulder pads, which I did a review for this guy. So if you watch my review for it, you can see why I don't like the shoulders on this guy. They're attached to the body, unlike the new Terminator, where it is attached just inside the shoulder, and you can get more range of movement. You can actually move the arms up to this kind of pose where you can't with this guy. So there is a good bit more posability option with these guys, and he is a bit better than his Terminator Chaplain counterpart. Now, I think there might also be a Terminator Librarian as well for the Ultramarines. I'm not sure if he got released or if he might be coming out. I know they're planning to do a couple of more Terminator characters, and at the time of this recording, they've already announced the Horus Heresy style Terminator armor, and they've showcased it for Imperial Fists and for the Sons of Horus, and they look really good. They're a good bit different in overall design to this style Terminator armor. This is way later in the franchise, whereas the Horus Heresy stuff kind of is more simplistic, but it has a really cool look to it as well. So it has a more ornate look than this kind of more simplified look, but it looks really good. So all in all, the Terminators, the Joytoy 1/18 scale Terminators, are pretty good. Unfortunately, I'm just going to bring in a Ian Malcolm, just so you can see the scale, to a average, well, supposedly average human, even though the Imperial Guard guys are pretty tall in the series as well. So there is that. But for supposedly human scale figure, you have someone that is in scale to him. So all in all, the Cyclone Terminator is really good. There is a Assault Cannon Terminator as well, which I didn't pick up. I might get him at some point. And there is an alternate. There's two Sergeants. There's the Sergeant that I have, which I will do a review of, and hopefully you will watch that when I get to it. But there is also a Sergeant that comes with an alternate head as well. So I don't have that one, and he has the big banner, the kind of classic style banner backpack, or banner top to his armor. So I don't have that one, but if I do pick him up, I will obviously do a review for him as well. So there you go, guys. I hope you enjoyed this review, and as always, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and help me build my channel. Cheers, guys.